Until then, many pleasant nightmares.
Hello and welcome to a special GC9X feature. This will probably be the first and only movie night we will ever host, so enjoy it while you can. Xerxes, would you like to explain the exact challenge here that we're doing?
Well, this month's challenge, everybody voted for Sweet Home, which is we'll be talking more about it on the podcast proper, but it's a Capcom Famicom game from 1989. Is that right?
Yes.
It's a JRPG, but it's got it's also considered kind of like a proto survival horror game. It has permadeath, which is interesting. There's a lot more to say about it, but they made it simultaneously, or it was like a tie-in. There was a tie-in movie. I'm not sure whether it was. I'm pretty sure it was a game that had a movie made out of it rather than a movie that had a game tied to it. I don't know for sure, but they were kind of advertised together, which I think is the first thing we're going to see is like an advertisement from that. So
they were actually made at the same time. They made the film first and allowed the producer of the game to screen it to get ideas for the game. So. And actually, the director of the movie was overseeing the process of the game being made. So
they came out the same year.
Yeah.
日本映画の面白男伊丹十三があのスイートホームのファミコン化に成功したぞ。呪われた屋敷に閉じ込められてしまった5人のテレビ取材班。この5人を操作して一人でも多く脱出させるのが君の使命だ。
And he wants your Netflix password.
ぐずぐずしていると屋敷に殺されてしまうぞ。暗闇で気をつけろ。じゃあ
I like how they spoil a lot of the movie in this commercial. Just very
みんなのこと
casually.
なんか知らないもん。
Yeah.
僕は一人で逃げるんだもん。なんていうやつは真っ先に
There's that
殺さ
Star
れて
Wars
しまう。
lightning.
みんなで知恵を絞り、お互い助け合わ
Like
ねば
that part.
脱
That's
出
like
は
the
不
coolest
可能なの
part.
だ。
Yeah, right there. Yeah,
僕が
yeah.
やられても君は逃げる
I
んだ
have
ぞ。
no legs.
さあ、呪われた屋敷から君は脱
I
出
don't
で
think
きるか。
anyone hears this.
脱出した
Nobody
人
here's
数によ
seen
って
kids,
5
have
つ
you?
の感動的なエンディングが
Yeah,
君を
that
待って
was
い
a
る。
long time ago.
The best part of that was where there's just like a crippled vet on a subway, and he says, "I have no legs. I have no legs."
It reminds me of that part of Arrested Development where they reference the half a man on a skateboard that terrified a young George Michael at the carnival or something. Anyway, so the movie's starting.
Is that Toho or Toei?
Toho?
I didn't.
I get the two of them mixed up, and I can
Do they
recognize.
both have the circle logo?
Yeah, they like one of them has the weird flashing lights, and one of them has like the surf coming in. I believe it is
Dude.
Toho. I believe this is Toho.
I really
Okay.
think like the classy thing to do is like the Shaw Brothers
Oh,
thing, where
wow,
you
that's
just rip
kinda
off
tasteful.
another company's logo.
I love the Shaw Brothers logo.
Yeah, it's like
Keep in mind,
SB.
there will be a bit of delay, so some of you guys you'll be commenting on things like way after they happen, but
Noko.
Well, I'm
that's
playing
why
it separately.
okay.
So, I have notes. I watched this movie beforehand, so I would have something to say about it. Because
Diku Smisu,
yeah, Dick Smith.
the godfather of like gore effects and makeup effects. He did effects in The Godfather, and that's well, actually. Anyway,
He's responsible for like Marlon Brando's jowls.
Like all the blood spray in the toll booth scene and stuff like that. So there are some names in that. This lady, she's a relatively famous actress in Japan. She's married to the producer of this movie, who, quote unquote, committed suicide, but actually was murdered by the Yakuza. And we'll talk about that.
Wacky gangsters.
I
What
know.
will they do next? I'd
like-
like to
Really hated that movie, so kill yourself.
I really want to know what part of Japan involves like sandstorms, and at what point were people like wearing like those little like Buster Keaton hats and stuff.
Like
This whole sequence, like this part is like this is the sandstorm area.
It looks like
Right.
that place they stopped to refuel in Con Air. Nicolas Cage is gonna pop.
So they're a TV crew who make documentaries, and they apparently are like a really shoestring operation because they have a director, a cameraman, the personality, and the producer, and then the producer's daughter, who's the only one who doesn't have anything to do it. But if the thing is like, if you go to Japan and you watch Japanese television, it's like 80% documentaries, and of those documentaries, like 90% are people walking around tasting food. That's like what they are. So they like a documentary, and we're going somewhere, and we're gonna stop here and taste the food, and the camera just lingers on the people eating the food, going, my, how tasty it is. The guy in the white suit, is he the mayor of this town? Because he's the coolest looking mayor ever.
He's kind of like Bill Nye if he was Japanese.
He stole the glasses from Pathfinder.
Hey, he looks like he walked off. It's like he was like an extra in Brazil or something. Like this crazy. Why don't you go to City Hall and see our huge tree?
He
Maybe
seems
this is
shocked at
Japan,
that
the
huge
post-apocalyptic
tree.
future or something. That might explain the shoestring budget and all that, because like that's literally the 4 people
It's
left
like-
that do television.
It's like the part of Japan that has a desert in a jungle in the same place. You'll see this later. But they knew there was a desert because they're dressed for it. Except for the cameraman who like is dressed like he looks like Marty McFly or something. Yeah.
Dude's a pedo.
What is with his vest?
See my vest, see my vest.
1989. This kind of thing was perfectly fine over there. Anywhere.
He's kind of the only one that actually looks like his sprite in the game. Maybe Kazuo too, but
I love that. I love when he pulls up her eye mask, which is like,
She's just
first of
scaring
all,
us.
if you're hoping, like, why would you do that? Like,
What's your game plan?
yeah, well, where do you go after that? Like, I really want to see her closed eyes. Like,
This is definitely an 80s film though, like Xerxes was saying. That vest totally sells it. It's like, yeah, this is pretty dated.
but this part, like, everybody else dresses like completely out of. Well, maybe the girl Emmy that's probably what was fashionable at the time. But these guys, like, with this whole like, this looks like a scene out of like the Japanese version of Naked Lunch or something. It does, doesn't it?
It's because
Like-
of the lighting. It's very.
Yeah, they've got like the atmospheric lighting,
Yeah.
the
That,
crazy suits.
the baby. Well, I'll be spoiling something, but one of the props later on kind of looked like Clark Nova too.
I like how the mayor carries the key with him at all times to the town's haunted house.
Is this farting trumpets? I think it's farting
It's
trumpets.
like they took the sound chip out of the SNES and said, you know what would be good if we made a whole movie soundtrack using that chip?
Okay, so here's the jungle that's apparently right next to the desert. Like, they still try to have like dust blowing in, so they're apparently adjacent.
Are they on a desert
Yeah, well, I
island or
mean,
something? Like, is that
that's
the only
continuity.
explanation?
It's never, as far as I know, it's never explained. Like,
It's probably
Does
not
it
worth
explain why they
explaining
built
then.
a house in
I
a
mean,
jungle
it's also
in
never
the
explained
desert?
why there's like Victorian mansion somewhere in Japan. Like, that's also kind of weird. That uses I don't know, there's a lot of...
Samo Cam.
Yeah. It really should have been, take place in New Orleans or something.
Music, good lord.
I don't know why, but the heftier gentleman on the right reminds me of William Shatner for some reason.
I'd love to see Shatner do this.
I can't even begin to imagine how he'd pronounce half of these things and, the way he'd, pause throughout the entire speech.
The best part is you can always tell when he's gonna, okay, I gotta take a break and film a Priceline commercial. We can just do it here. The crew follows me. For legal reasons, the crew is always with me. So yeah, this is again, this does not look like anything.
Is the location of this ever vaguely established, or is it just it's in
Japan? Yeah, it's in Japan.
Some mysterious part of Japan. Yeah.
Because I can understand if this was a Western movie, because it's Japan has jungles and deserts and shit. But so this is a Japanese movie.
Yeah. No, yeah, I mean, I don't know, it's kind of like how, when we film Westerns, they're always in Monument Valley, even though, that's not where they're supposed to happen. So it's they're supposed to be in Texas, but it's filmed in Monument Valley, which is, in Arizona?
Utah, I think, actually.
Utah. Yeah, Utah, right. See, I don't even know. Okay, so you just saw the key, and it's the first game item that shows up in the movie, I think, right?
Yeah.
So in the game, every character has an item, a tool that only they have, and they can't get rid of it, and it does something essential. So the key is the key that opens up locked doors. And so I think they give it to Emmy in this scene? Because she's the one who has it in the game.
Said
right?
Asuka or something in the
Asuka is the vacuum person in the game.
And the guy that just as a note, the guy that they call Taguchi in this, his name's Taro in the game. So if you're getting confused, that's who it is.
They had to show it because of the limit.
He has a lighter, actually, I don't know if it's synced up, but Kazuo, the guy in the trench coat, is the one with a lighter.
So was that scene just before, was that referencing Rosemary Baby with the pram?
Could have been. Hard to say.
Because, if it's a Western Victorian mansion, is this sort of be throwing back to Western horror, or is it...
Well, I think it's supposed to be, but it's really, they're so ready to adopt different. I love this. Okay, so let me just point, no TV host on Japan is that dour, ever. No woman on Japanese TV is ever allowed to be that down in the dumps. They can announce any kind of tragedy, and they have to at least look sort of perky. They can look serious, but they can't look like freaking Wednesday from the Addams Family. They have to have
Yeah, she looks like she doesn't want to be there, which isn't acceptable.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the other thing. Is her cadence is all wrong. She's definitely a weirdo. Maybe that's the point. But, in reality, a woman who's hosting a Japanese documentary talks as if she's demonstrating what the exit rows are on an airplane. That's what it sounds like. They're very big on, contextually appropriate voices. There's a service voice for if you work in a restaurant or something, you talk a different way, and if you're on TV or hosting something in some way, you talk a different way.
Why is that exactly? Is it just a presentation thing, or?
I don't know. I don't know whether there's a good explanation for that.
Really big fans of just ritual, aren't they? So it's just yep.
Well, it's nobody knows why. In the United States, for instance, all newscasters speak with a Midwestern accent, even if they didn't grow up in the Midwest. And I don't know whether there's a good explanation for why that is either.
I think the idea is just to have a neutral speaking voice so that anyone anywhere can understand you. I think is the going theory.
So anyway, the reason why they're filming a documentary in this creepy old house is a famous fake, not real artist lived there, and they want to go see his like final frescoes because he did frescoes.
Wait! He's a Japanese artist that lived in a Victorian mansion that did Italian frescoes.
Well, frescoes. I mean, they've made frescoes
true.
They made them all over the world in different ways. I don't know whether these are supposed to be
like the specific.
They're not.
Fresco.
Yeah, like
they're really weird. They kind of look like Roger Dean things, or the painting from the Beyond.
Well, it's weird because whenever you have a movie that's about like a fake artist, like an artist,
here's something from the game that differs from the movie.
Oh yeah, there's a generator in the house, which is in the game. Right.
And there's also the monument,
like the voodoo thing.
The little like the tower with a skull rock on top of it. And
now, is that a real skull or is it a rock?
I think it's a skull. It's just and then for whatever reason he kicks it over, and that's what kills everybody basically.
Oh, that's the guy who did that.
Yeah.
So did he kick it over and then take the skull and start banging it?
No, that's just a random rock off the pile.
I thought he took a rock, but I was concerned he just took a skull.
When I first watched the movie, I thought that was like a mystery person, and I always wondered why it's never explained who that was.
No, it's Taguchi. He's just a dumb shit. And
I thought that was like the Scooby-Doo moment where...
Okay, I have to ask a question about that little totem or whatever it is. How is that exactly? Is that thing still standing if some random asshole can just kick it over like it's nothing? Like this place has
because it's
storms
spirit.
It's
spirit.
The house has only been the house has only been abandoned for like 30 years, I think. So the guy was like still like that's why I think the frescoes look the way they look the way they.
Gas mask.
But the thing is like the house is in like an amazing state of disrepair for just being abandoned for 30 years. But you'll see later, well, I'll talk about it later, but okay, so here's...
this is item number 2.
Yeah, this is item number 2, the vacuum, which in the game you use to clean up broken glass, which blocks your way for some reason, because I guess nobody's wearing shoes.
So they're a John McClane situation then.
And to sometimes clean dust off of frescoes, which you find and they give you like kind of bits of story as you go through the game. The vacuum apparently works in reverse, by the way, if you just saw that. It blew out smoke rather than... But, like, the weird thing is that anytime you make a movie that's about, like, you make up an artist who's supposed to be really great, and then you have to show their work, it never looks very good, like, because it's like everybody's talking about how great that artist is, and then you see, like, the stuff that, like... some dude on the back lot had to paint the night before, and it's like...
Yes, they just got some guy.
It never looks quite right. It's like, it's not really that good.
It's kind of like anything that Aaron Sorkin does, because he talks about how brilliant, his characters are, but, like, their stuff sucks. Like, they're a crappy politician, or crappy newscaster, or crappy... it's like, okay, you probably should have worked a little harder on that than...
That's why...
trying to do your own self-insert.
Yeah, that's why I never really... liked like detective like Sherlock Holmes stories, because it's like you're supposed to, the only point of those stories is to be impressed by how smart Sherlock Holmes is, but really you're supposed to be impressed by how smart the author is, but it's not that impressive when you know that he just came up with a way for somebody to discover the answer. It's like it's like, well, yeah, Sherlock Holmes knows what like every hue of soil from every corner of London looks like, so of course he can figure out based on these boot prints it's like, that's a stupid thing. Nobody can do that, and it's not clever, and it's not impressive to me.
So what you're saying is it's like Stardust the super wizard, the superhero that can do literally anything he wants to because he just can.
Well, I mean, everything is
like Doctor Who sort of deal.
Well, Doctor Who tends to solve problems by guile or something like that. Like he doesn't just it's kind of like the Star Trek issue where in Star Trek the the one with Patrick Stewart. It's like I remember it even as a kid. It's like they're always solving problems by inventing some new stupid thing. It's like somebody goes into those like crawl space in the ship.
Tubes.
Yeah.
It's more of a Voyager thing. There's in TNG. There's a little bit more. They negotiate things and they,
It's like,
they don't just say,
well, we
got to reverse the polarities on the flux capacitor using
the
demagnetizing ray.
Interestingly, like you saw when somebody had a gas mask on when they were vacuuming off the fresco, like nobody else was wearing a mask.
Yeah.
It's only the TV host was wearing a mask.
Maybe it's to protect her makeup. Maybe it's not even for the dust.
Yeah, so this is like, this woman she has the med kit in the game, is that right?
Yeah.
She also doesn't look like...
What the hell?
So these,
the character avatars don't look anything like them, but... I
feel sick about that.
like that Joe Star came to a full stop at that point.
It's one of those things that's just kind of baffling.
Let me savor this. These are hot pink bike shorts.
Yep, still the 80s.
Now this is an item thing in the game too. The slot, the projector.
I like how she doesn't immediately like wet her pants in fear. She just like goes back downstairs after this. I mean, I know that the house is a gas generator, but like that does not look like the kind of projector that like would just be plugged into the wall and.
Well, you did say that the house was abandoned in the last 30 years. I think that would be enough time for power.
I like that the film in the projector was like, even though the house was abandoned 30 years ago, the film was like from the 20s because it's still like highly flammable.
Maybe the real mystery here is why everything is so anachronistic. Like maybe that's the whole secret behind whatever it is that's trolling this house.
Yeah, it's kind of...
It does feel extremely hodgepodge, just like all the different elements of the movie. I know you said the frescoes were bad, but I don't mind them. They're not like outrageous.
They're not bad. I just mean like when they talk about how great this artist was, and this is like his great last work, and then you see it and they're like, they're not. I mean, they're okay, but it's like they could easily be found in like an airport in Denver somewhere or something like that. Like they don't look that great.
I think the trick is if they had been painted in the 50s, they would actually be quite impressive because they're way too modern for something painted in the 50s.
Yeah, they're very 80s, or 60s to 80s surrealism sort of thing, like Roger Dean.
Yeah.
As you've noted, so I'm just stealing from you. So.
I think that was Joe. So.
No respect.
Yeah, man.
Well, Cal's our resident Roger Dean fan. I'm the second best fan, and he's the super.
I love how the painting that they're looking at, the fresco, is very, very obvious what it's depicting, but it takes them a very long time to figure out.
The baby is burning. Wow.
Yeah, she screams. Let's point out, Akachan is not a scary word.
Akachan.
Akachan.
So that sounds like a train. I don't know why.
Babby.
Doesn't it literally, it's like...
So the fresco's just slowly coming to life, and it's becoming even more surreal and just bizarre.
Well, they're very slowly removing dust off of it with a vacuum cleaner.
So wait,
they don't
other
want
layers were just dust? He painted
they're just taking their time.
It's
I have a feeling every time these two are alone, they just start making out. So everybody left that room when they were vacuuming the fresco, and they're like, "Oh, sweet, time to steal a moment." And that guy takes one last bite of his breakfast burrito, and then they go at it.
I like how there's a lamp on the table, but they're clearly not using it, so I don't know what purpose it serves.
It's Pyramid Head. And is a first starring role.
Man, the artist who lived in this house, he collected some crazy stuff.
It's pretty rad.
It looks like Bilbo Baggins designed that lattice work back there as well. Like, none of it makes any sense.
Maybe it's like that one mansion in the United States that the guy built to confuse ghosts or something. Like it literally has doors.
Oh, the
going
Winchester
nowhere.
Mansion?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
There's hallways to nowhere. And, yeah. I love this Japanese teamwork speech right here. A documentary is produced by everyone.
I like it how in the
Your
back,
program.
the other guy's like, I don't give a crap. Whatever.
Yeah, Emmy's kind of like the Velma of this thing because she keeps wandering off and she's only scared when something bad happens. But, like, I don't understand why she keeps wandering off. Jenkins.
They have to wander off.
Yeah, I know. That's a big part of the game, too. Like, if your characters get separated in the game, it's a really big problem. Because they can get stuck, and you have to, like, backtrack to go get them, and...
Yeah, if you get caught with a status ailment by yourself, you're not screwed, but you're in trouble early on, especially.
I wonder if the axes you get in the game as weapons are supposed to be like that.
Because that's
Is
like
that what they're-
that's like He-Man stuff. I mean, that's
a really amazing axe.
It looks like an executioner's axe.
It does, yes, which is again another anachronism, except of the cultural variety. So.
Well, it's completely fake because there's no, like, back part of the axe head.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be all off balance.
Well, that's why it's an executioner's axe. 'Cause it just goes straight down. Like it's weighted so that it's just gonna drop. There's no
It's
pullback
still
force.
it's in very good condition.
Well, if we act on the idea that the artist is collecting that sort of junk, he's probably taking care of it.
pay attention to what he just did. That pays, or that plays
There
a
are
big point
dividends
later.
later.
Yes.
Horrific dividends. I like how the director lady is wearing, like, Cecil B. DeMille riding pants. So that's how you know she's a director.
She's all business.
Do they do that in the,
Yeah, she's, like,
they do that in
very-
American
very
movies
much-
too, though. Like they have them coordinate the outfits so you just know what the role they are.
Yeah, they have to have the bullhorn, like the typical, like, silent film director where they wear the riding chaps or whatever they're called. That's because Cecil B. DeMille wore them, I think.
I'm assuming they made Akiyoko the nurse because in this she's like, well, let's be a team sort of deal.
It's interesting. I want to point out this movie is strange because the main character is not the teenage girl. The main characters are the like 40-something director and the teenage girl's father is the producer. So, and they, like, really, like this scene right here. Okay, for example, like, why is the 40-something woman kind of like the, like, more provocatively, playfully posed person, and then the teenager's wearing, like, a muumuu? You know, it's just weird. It's interesting I wasn't expecting that with this movie.
They were talking before about how she's young, she's not growing up enough. Maybe they're
Well, her
flipping out on that.
her mother died earlier, and she wants to hook her father up with this lady. And because, you know, and so, by the way, I think she's wearing the dead woman's clothes right there, the
Yeah.
teenager. So she had the dead woman's necklace, and then she had the dead woman's clothes. Like, this is all very, very contrary to what it's, I mean, in a rational sense, there's nothing weird about it, but, like, people do not do stuff like that because there's an idea of this belongs to a dead person, you know?
in your sort of by the numbers horror movie, she would probably gradually become possessed by the woman.
Actually, anyway,
Not quite, yeah. I like this
Well, I
part,
mean, you
it's
know-
like trying to get her dad laid in this old house. It's just such a weird, it's like a Parent Trap kind of thing. You ever see
Setting
the
the mood.
Trap or the, yeah.
Just a little trivia. The girl that plays Emmy is, or she, well, I think she is still active singer, and she actually had a album that was released over here back in the early 90s. And then the lady that plays Akiko, she's a pretty famous actress, and she's married to Juzo Itami, who he shows up later. He's most of the time he was a director, but he was an actor in some movies. But he's the guy with the really fake makeup. You'll know when you see him.
So, like, is it implied that this Asuka and Taro are like an item?
I was kind of wondering about that.
Are they like lovers or something? Or
I don't know.
just like, why is he pouring like a gas can full of water over her hair? Like, that's kind of a weird. You know, it's like
they have some kind of dom sub thing going on.
Yeah, it's like
she's totally acting like she's autistic or something. It's
well, she's very serious about her craft of
like
documentary hosting.
She's acting kind of like a performance artist or something. Like,
see this right here. This is the point where I decide, you know what? Maybe we should stay in a hotel while we film this instead of staying in the house.
There's no hotels nearby. It's just a desert.
I'm sure the mayor would set you up. That guy looks like he'd love to have people over at his house.
Play some Parcheesi or something.
If you go there, he just shows off his goggles collection to you. It's really frustrating.
He clearly is proud of them because he keeps them around his neck rather than just removing them and putting them on a desk.
So this movie respects women. That's why you didn't get any sort of nudity in that scene.
There is some side boob coming up, but I don't want to spoil it.
That is the weirdest looking coffin.
Yeah, it's like coffin designed by H.R. Geiger or something.
It really does.
Is it for a baby?
Yeah,
yes.
I think so.
Yes.
That is where
Is
Babby
it supposed
is.
to be look like a crib turned upside down or something? Because
Yeah,
it does
that's
kind
what
of
I
the
think
lattice
the
work
deal
sort of
is.
thing.
It's like a baby.
Second time we
crib.
said lattice work in this stream so far.
Let's go for a trifecta.
Lunchtime.
So yeah, so as soon as you see the baby the baby coffin in the picture in the fresco, you know what the rest of this movie is about. And this is a very well preserved baby corpse for like being in the ground for 30 years.
Ghost
Like
baby.
Maybe the coffin is like hermetically sealed. That part's really creepy though, where the head just like falls backwards.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what was gonna happen.
So on a scale of true horror, which is worse, a ghost baby or a ghost dad?
Have you ever? I mean, aside from the movie of the same name, have we ever seen a ghost dad?
Well, is the ghost dad gonna tell dad jokes? Because I would take the baby.
Usually, well, first of all, if the ghost dad is Bill Cosby, then sign me up, because that guy's hilarious. Anybody who doesn't think Bill Cosby's funny it's like something's wrong with him, because he's hilarious. It's like, I remember when I was a kid, like I'd watch the Cosby Show and there'd be times where he like broke the fourth wall and just like look at the camera with like this look like, I cannot believe this, like jackass is my son, for just like a few seconds, and then the audience would laugh, and that blew my mind as a kid, because I was like, how can you not say anything and make people laugh?
I like how the music just then was like sort of flying through the air music. It wasn't driving.
Right here. So they're they're back in like yeah, exactly. Why are they? And he's drinking. It looks like he's drinking Coors, but I think if you get a closer look at the can, it's a Japanese brand. But it looks like he's drinking like not Coors Light, but the Coors the Banquet beer.
This is really disturbing what he's doing under the, like, if you look at it, it kind of...
Don't. Is that a can of Coors? I think it is. I see the C, the curly C.
To sell trucks. Yamamura.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that
part.
Yeah.
This guy's like such a fan of like Mississippi gas stations that he created one in like Hokkaido or wherever they.
What's wrong? You just had the car crush it. It's kind of obvious.
What's wrong? I didn't get to pull out.
No, no, you. No, the wrong way. That sounds
like how
it'd be
that
something
lowers
out of
it
a
even
bad
more.
sitcom or something, though. Like, that's not what I think of when I think true. Wait a minute.
This is like something that would happen, like befall Steve Martin or something. Yeah.
That makeup.
He's like an old
This guy,
crusty
this guy
gentleman
looks,
from the South.
he looks. I love that pose he strikes when he's filling up the gas can. That is the most gallant way you can fill up a gas can right there. That is pretty dapper. This guy looks almost exactly like my father-in-law if my father-in-law was wearing a fake beard.
Maybe he's a beard wizard and his magic.
I
is
love that
looking
he's
like an
got
old
this,
crusty
like,
man.
Yeah, he's got this like ancient curse amulet hanging from the side view of his sidestep 63 Ford.
It looks really obscene. If you look, I mean, if you get a good look at it, and especially if you see the drawing in the booklet, it looks kind of like some kind of ancient marital aid. It's just. But that's the thing that's called the tool in the game.
It is?
Yes. It's the Japanese.
Why does he need to direct her out? Like there's nothing for her to hit. Like he like carefully now, you can put it in reverse. It's like lady driver. Like what does he not trust her to like back out of his completely empty driveway?
This is just.
This might be a surprise, but the actor that played him was actually a lot younger than he looked there.
Really? No. You're
Don't say.
kidding.
See, and he's sniffing it. I mean, see, it's like even worse than.
Don't.
Hey, that is no more of a. I mean, this is at least a PG-13 movie, and I didn't get with like the. Well,
So they've got the coffin out now, and now it's like, okay, let's film this.
let's film this. We just dug this baby up, and you know, if you ever wanted to see a dead baby, here's a pretty nice specimen.
Well, did they do it, or did she put that down? Because they're both wearing white, so it's hard to.
It's kind of hard to tell. I couldn't tell if it was.
Wait,
I mean, they all kind of look the same.
If you look at the shape of it, it looks kind of like a mutant baby carriage.
No, it's in the wheelchair, and the wheelchair is actually a hidden item in the game.
So
Hidden.
It is.
Yes, I forget. I can't remember where I put it, but you know, when I played it years ago, I cheated, and there's a hidden wheelchair, and it lets you move faster.
I gotta find that 'cause I'm so tired of walking so slowly.
It's called a pulley. It's called the pulley, though. I remember that.
Here, let me help you open this thing that's obviously a child's coffin that we saw in the fresco. Oh my god! Oh,
Dead baby.
don't touch it! Don't touch it! What did you think it was?
oh hey, rose petal.
This is okay. So here, this is something that I want to talk about here. This is like not a, this movie, this kind of ghost story is like the oldest kind of ghost story, oldest kind of haunted house story there is. And as far as I can tell, Sweet Home, the game, is the first video game that tells the vengeful ghost story as its main thing. Like, I know that, like Rasa was saying, that there are probably a bunch of text games and RPGs that feature these kind of stories, but the vengeful ghost story is about as old as the ghost story gets. I don't know whether I want to talk about this over this movie, or maybe I should save this for the podcast. But
Yeah, maybe it would be worth saving for the podcast.
yeah, maybe I'll do that. But I will say this: like that there is a concept of like Japan, just like Japanese folklore, just invents like a whole taxonomy of fake monsters and stuff.
Yeah, yokai.
Yokai. Right?
And there's actually I'm sorry.
Yeah, so one of these yokai can be ghosts, they can be spirits, they can be demons or whatever, but they all are something. There's one called, I think, Muona, which is the vengeful spirit of a mother who lost her child to famine or war or some other tragedy, was murdered or something, and she protects. So she has like kind of a double nature. Like she is sometimes depicted, this kind of ghost is depicted as like protecting children who are in trouble, but in her like interest in protecting them, kind of can't control herself, and she sort of like consumes them or possesses them or something. And it's kind of interesting. They have a lot of ghosts like that. Like there's another kind of ghost that I can't remember. I can't remember how to pronounce it, but oh wait, no, Zashiki Warashi, which is like a child ghost that's not like really a ghost because it doesn't necessarily come from a dead person. But if you have like an old house, like you kind of want to like make it conducive to these kinds of like 6-year-old ghost creatures, because if they come to live in your house, they'll like, you know, make you rich or something like that. But if like you make them angry and they leave your house, like your family is destined for ruin, something like that. It's a lot of interesting stuff like that. But yeah, I guess I'll save the rest for the podcast, because there's really a lot going on, and the movie is so goofy it doesn't make sense to talk over it.
I was gonna say though, Satanga did bring up, or was it Bobinator? I'm looking here. You said The Uninvited might actually technically count as a ghost story sort of game like this before Sweet Home. There was also Haunted House for the Atari, I think, or whatever that was called.
For some reason, I think I only think of Uninvited as the NES port.
Yeah, it was like a Mac Adventure game, like long before that, I think.
They're both pretty disturbing.
Yeah.
Splatterhouse. That wasn't ghosts, but
It's not really a haunted story.
well, there were actually though. Like later on, yeah, the female ghosts and then the necromancers in that one level.
Which game? Sorry.
Splatterhouse.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I love how they're talking right here. It's like, I can't explain it, but something weird is going on, such as our TV personality putting on some dead woman's clothes and digging up a dead baby, and something about it just seems off, you know?
To be fair, she did
Something's not
come
right
in with
here.
like the Black Wednesday outfit, as you said, so I mean, she was already pretty weird.
Emmy changes her clothes like 10 times. Yeah.
How many did
Like she changed her clothes after coming to the house, even though earlier you saw her wearing like...
At one point, Emmy actually looked like she came out of Akira, though. She had like the sweater and the tight T-shirt or whatever. She looked. I'm trying to remember which character she reminded me of.
K?
Yeah, maybe. I think Akira came out a year before this did, but I doubt it had any influence on it. So.
No, I think it was just Japanese girls dressed like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just 80s, that one.
Because they're from Asia.
And there she goes. Is something wrong? Are you acting like a totally insane person?
Maybe she
Or
just
are
has
you trying to tell
Montezuma's
me
revenge
something?
or something.
Maybe I should follow this crazy person deeper into this obviously evil house. Peek.
Is that wall covered in spikes?
Yeah, it is. It looks like it. I wonder
Dr.
if
don't wanna be-
Frankenfurter.
Bilbo had a dark side, you know?
Yeah, I keep expecting Tim Curry to come out and queen it up, so...
I was gonna say I wouldn't be surprised if this mansion just randomly had a room that was nothing but like saw blades from like lawnmowers or something just strewn all about for no reason.
No, the chandelier. It's scaring me.
Chandelier? Or is it actually made from human bones, and thus it is a mandelier?
It's a person-delier. You don't know who those bones belong to. Could be a woman.
True, it could be a woman-delier, so... But seriously, I'd totally expect whoever owns this mansion to have the chandelier just casually made out of human bones for no reason.
Well, you know.
Like the toilet, you know, it's just like a throne of human bones or something.
I mean, the people who lived here were obviously a little weird. Like, I would have opted not to bury my baby in my backyard.
In like a, like hermetically
I would have
sealed
put it
coffin.
somewhere where I wouldn't be reminded every day of the greatest tragedy of my life. I would, you know.
Yeah, the hermetically sealed coffin that you got H.R. Geiger to commission and design.
Well, you know, Giger actually has a lot of really scary stuff in his house. You ever seen any pictures of it in his place?
I'm
like
not
his.
surprised.
so.
Yeah.
I mean, he has like ebony. I remember seeing this picture of his dinner table, and it looks like something out of one of those things. It's just a big like writhing skeletal mass, and then there's these chairs that look like, on one side there's like a giant, cock with piercings through it, and a skeleton head, and then on the other side there's like a centipede with a woman's face with a baby pin through it, and it's just like really disturbing stuff. So it's not that big of a stretch for some
Yeah, he
guy
might
to.
just make baby coffins and like.
Yeah, I
this
mean, he
is
could
the
just.
one guy who bought one.
Yeah, but it is kind of weird, like you were saying, Cal. It's kind of, oh
I love this scene. I love it.
man,
Why is she doing this? Shut up and make love to me. Take off that tracksuit and make love to me, you fool.
Your red tracksuit has aroused me.
Yes. Really? I used to throw shot in high school.
Maybe it's the hat he hasn't taken off the whole film.
Wake up! Wake up!
you know why she's
How
the one
long
that has
must
the
I
vacuum in the
straddle
game, right?
before-
Oh, dude.
Inappropriate.
Inappropriate uses for a vacuum. Number 5.
It causes vascular damage, by the way.
So I've heard.
Yeah, don't.
Wah, wah, wah.
It's those shadow puppets from the beginning of the movie. They grew up.
They're no longer shadow puppets. They are shadow men.
Yes, they're shadow marionettes.
Don't play with shadow puppets. Reference the kids.
Man, if you're gonna have a tracksuit like that, you better have the balls to back it up. Like you should fight the advancing shadow. My e-cigs!
By the way, this happened to a lot of people in the game, it seems, because like every other room you're seeing some guy that ends up like this, and he's still alive,
Yeah.
and you talk to him, and then you come back like a couple hours later, and
He says the same thing.
yeah, he's just like, yeah, it's not
Coral
like,
reef. It's advancing.
it's the stuff. Chocolate Chip Charlie's coming to get him.
Oh my god. Why
It's-
didn't you
it's
just
like
eat
the
that out of
reverse.
the ground? Okay, let me ask you this: why are people in horror movies like so ridiculously stupid? Is like that the only way they could make this scary?
It's
I
'cause-
thought someone in the stuff, they accidentally got someone in their hands and they like licked it and they were like, oh, this tastes delicious.
But
No,
still, why
the
would
guy-
you just eat something that came out of the ground that looks like yogurt? Like, why would you do that? Like, who in their right mind, even if they got it on their heads and say, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm totally gonna eat this.
Snarbro, there's
No,
a
the
really
main-
big market for that kind of video in Japan, so I mean, that's the answer to it.
The main thing that, like, the top thing you can do in a haunted house or like serial killer invasion scenario apparently is back up while facing your threat. So like you never run away. Like there, finally she does it. But like usually it's a lot of backing up in terror without being able to pull your eyes away from your tormentor. Like maybe you should just like bolt, you know? Now we're back in like Bilbo's room. here.
Well, you got to be careful because if the ghost is under Boo from Mario rules, if you look away, you're screwed. It's over.
Now remember, there was a Chekhov's gun earlier in the movie, and that's gonna pay off now.
You've ruined it
Wait, are
completely.
those apples? Or billiard balls?
Jawbreakers.
Yeah, they think they're billiard balls.
I can't get enough of them.
I wish the balls were in the game. Ooh, shit.
I think something might be wrong, but I can't feel my legs.
I have no legs. Now he can charge perverts $20 a hit to smell his cart. Ow. He's like that one guy in Harvester. Ow. Ow. Doesn't look good. Except I don't think...
This is a really like you can't see how they're doing this. That's interesting. It's like a really great practical effect.
I think it's a
Like
puppet
you know,
in some instances.
obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell you how they're doing it if you want, but once you know, it's hard to unsee. Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, well, I can see that this is not a real person, but it looks really cool.
Oh no, it's
Point
this
is-
is
Yeah.
1989 to 1993, basically absolute golden age of physical effects.
But like you expect it to look weird and unnatural, so it's okay. But like if you computer animate it, you can just have like it's like Lieutenant Dan, you know, and it just doesn't look scary.
I think it's the physicality. Like, there's been a lot of debate about why CGI isn't anywhere near as effective in terms of horror.
It's because it sucks. Ooh, wrench.
You know, I think Sweet Home is actually the second game we've played for GC9X that was based off of a horror movie or had a horror movie that was related to it somehow.
Ooh,
First being,
house, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
being
Painting and house were better than in this, though.
So I just want to get this straight. Like having your torso melted off by like ghost lava does not kill you. Being hit in the head with a wrench a couple times does.
Well,
hello.
And stay still.
I like how the axe actually looked at her for a split second. He's like, hello.
Oh. Like the weird thing is like the axe doesn't penetrate her skull that much. She would probably survive that, at least for a little while.
well, I was gonna say with the other guy, he was kind of like weird ghost melted. It didn't look like he was bleeding much. He might not have died straight away.
Well, we all know that like unholy flames tend to cauterize the torso wounds, so I'm just making
Sorry.
that up now. Yeah.
I think he was okay for the couple of minutes. Otherwise, it was ghosts.
Yes, let's go
'cause this
back into the house
lead the way, Asian Shatner.
together.
Oh, hey, it's Torgo.
So I'm just saying, like the director lady's got some sweet junk in the trunk, right there.
Did they digitally alter his voice, or is he just putting on like a low voice?
I think he's putting on an old man voice. Could be voice modulated, but I doubt it. Actually, wait, yeah, I think it is.
The curse? Yeah, maybe it's the thing that's causing like all the crazy shadows. And we don't know
The scene was really
about it.
good, actually. I like that.
I'm the man from the gas station. Oh, thank God. Looks strangely like John Madden right there. That guy.
Right? Was that not subtitled?
It sounded like he said "get out" or something in English, or he was I don't know.
There's a part they don't subtitle later. Well, I don't know if this version subtitles it or not. He has a musical number.
So I guess already in terms of the game, this isn't canon because you can actually keep these characters alive. I assume for the entire game.
Well, in the game, as I think Joe said, there were a lot of these corpse guys in there, but 'cause the game sort of implied to me that you were some film crew that was following, like, in the footsteps of several other crews that had gone there and died.
Okay.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of there's that's correct, and you run into a couple of the people, and then there's just a really weird moment where you go into this room and there's a bunch of servants for the house, and it's like, how the hell were they alive? Like, wasn't this place closed for like 30 years? And it's not really clear if they're ghosts or what, but you see all these like dead bodies or half dead bodies, and then
I love the
they
thriller
talk.
makeup on his face. You half expect him to do a dance number, but you know.
He doesn't have the legs for the moonwalk.
Whoa, Xerxes, your mic got really staticky. Is anyone else's mic?
Can you hear me?
Xerxes,
Yeah.
yeah. Xerxes just getting into the movie.
Yeah, he's summoning Satan. Oh no, someone turned on the toaster oven? The heat lamp? I don't know, like the old anachronistic heat lamp.
Is that better now?
Yeah.
Are we better? Okay.
Did the axe melt her?
I guess. It turned her into something. I don't know.
Well, silver's supposed to like kill evil, so.
But, oh.
Yeah, what happened exactly? It's like.
The axe turned her into a volcano. How the hell did he recognize? He walked in, he's like, Oscar? What?
Well, that pile of lava has like some personality, I think.
It's much like the rock people from Masters
Really,
of
it's not all that different from her earlier behavior.
Smoldering with generic rage.
Oh, Oscar, cut it out. We have to go.
They just scoop her up in like a coffee can or something.
Do you think Asuka and the cameraman were like doing it?
And that's
You
why
guys
they're
really need
melting?
to rein in your S&M.
I mean, also they melted, but like, do you think? I sense some weirdness.
Wait, where did old gas station man just suddenly come from? He wasn't here a moment ago.
Well, he
Oh,
He does have
Remember-
legs.
yes,
he
that's
found
true.
out that he didn't drive here in his stepside, but he apparently, so after he heard that they were in this mansion, he decided to wait about 3 hours and then come.
I mean, I know he was outside, but I thought he said he was going to go do something, so I guess I just misread the subtitle.
He's kind of like in this movie. He kind of serves like he's like Scatman Crothers from The Shining.
Yeah,
Like,
I
he's
picked that up
the guy who-
immediately.
Knows all the dirt for no apparent reason.
There is an apparent reason in the game, but they never go into it in the movie.
Yeah.
Maybe he is actually the ghost of, I don't know. He's
I
secretly
thought it
the
was a-
Frisco painter guy.
I
The
Yeah, I
game
thought.
and the movie strike is more of an alternate interpretation of a story that doesn't exist.
But like in the game, I mean, a couple minutes into the game, you get it's pretty apparent that you're in a haunted house and that Lady Mamiya wants to kill you, and you're trapped in the house. Whereas like they're able to pick up and leave the house here in this movie, so
It makes you wonder why they don't. Like, can the ghost, like, follow them? Like, can it just lift up, like, the entire mansion and just, like, chase after him or something?
it'd be kind of interesting.
Like, what was the name of that,
It's like
that
Baba
witch-
Yaga's
yeah,
house. Yes.
That witch in Russian folklore that had unfowls legs.
Like, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, if you're filming a documentary about, like, say, the Tower of London, like, you can probably stay in a hotel. Like, you don't have to sleep in the tower. It's,
Well, you did say they were like a low-budget crew. Maybe they really don't have the money.
yeah.
I just
They're
love how cheesy
they're
the music
method.
is
They're
in
a
this.
method. They're like method actors, but for documentaries.
It's like an Aerosmith video now. What's going on?
This specific scene reminds me a little bit of Halsu.
Joestar's the only one old enough to laugh at that. I'm thinking about introducing a new segment to the podcast called Xerxes and Joestar Are Old. Like whenever we start talking about something that nobody else remembers, we'll put on some like old timey ragtime music or something and talk about like laser tag or something else that doesn't exist anymore.
I thought that existed a couple years ago.
Yeah, it still does. Wait, he has a... Oh, it's not a gun. It's just... I thought he had like a ghost killing gun.
His
or
guy's
something.
ghost marital aid.
Oh, that did him a lot of good.
The world's spookiest Pez dispenser.
He just starts shooting out the Pez while saying, "The power of Christ compels you."
It's an early warning system. If it blows up, you gotta leave.
I love how like he like tells you the whole story of the mansion. It's like, this is the story of Mommy a Mansion. You probably never heard about it because it wasn't a very exciting news story, so it didn't get a lot of publicity. But you know, it's like if something like this happened in real life, everyone would know about it. Nobody would just be stumbling across the house and not know about the like murderer crazy lady who lived in it. Like that would be a legendary story.
Again, they can leave at any time. It makes you really wonder why they don't.
Well, his daughter is now trapped in there, so he's not gonna leave.
There is that, yes.
He's So him and the surrogate mom have to go get her.
See, that makes
And then
sense. That
this,
would have
like-
been good to do that from the start, to have some sort of like motive for the characters rather than just have them kind of goof around like Scooby-Doo and Co. and then
Oh,
just
okay.
suddenly
Yeah,
melt.
like maybe their uncle said they would inherit the house on the condition that they stay one night in the house. I love this guy. So he's going to tell the story now, and he tells the story, and it's like I just don't understand how nobody would know about this.
It's kind of like the beginning of Antichrist, except without the penetration shot. You know what happens?
Oh,
Well, that's all implied, but
I hate that movie.
Yeah, that was more of Willem Dafoe that I didn't want to see as Green Goblin. That wasn't him, apparently. They said that the real Willem Dafoe they couldn't film it. It was just too big, so.
Yeah, that was true. They couldn't fit it on the camera in the shots. They had to get a stunt.
it just wasn't believable. People wouldn't have believed it.
Sleep.
So the baby corpse you saw earlier was supposed to have been found, like the baby had crawled into a furnace.
Oh gosh.
And like, first of all, like, that is a very determined baby because that's an old iron furnace. Outside of that thing would have been hot.
Yeah, it would have been like, shit, I'm on fire. I'll keep going.
Yeah, there's no way, like, the kid like wets his pants, he's gonna scream like bloody murder. Like, how would you not notice that the kid had crawled all the way into the furnace? There's something wrong. I don't know whether it's implied, maybe it's lost in the subtitle translation that the mother just went crazy and killed her own baby. But like, that would make more sense than the story that they give you. Then the villagers come after her with Frankenstein rakes, and she throws herself into the furnace, he says. And the interesting thing is, you'll see it later, the Frankenstein rakes make a return.
Okay, so according to Sting, the stream died for a split second. Hopefully that won't happen again, because I'll be the only person talking over it if that happens, and I'm not anywhere near as funny as you guys, so...
Speaking of Frankenstein breaks, those are the best weapons in the game.
I haven't even found them yet. Oh yeah,
They're in
we
the
need to look for Emmy.
Dungeons.
We better leave this drunk man here into his misery.
Hey, stop blaming them. That dickhead who's already dead woke her up.
Well, as you saw in Hausu, Japanese ghosts are assholes.
The one in Hausu is confusing with their motivation. I don't want to spoil that movie, though.
She's just a bitch.
Well, okay, so the ghost in this movie strikes me as, like, Poltergeist if the ghost was more of an asshole and also
Oh, we got
passive
a flashlight.
aggressive.
Yeah.
Flashlight's another item from the game, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
It accomplishes something in the game that does not make any sense for a flashlight to accomplish.
I think it's funny that you can't use the flashlight instead of the candle.
Yeah, that's a problem. You don't understand, if you use lights, it only aggravates them more. Because light creates more shadows.
But they're in a darkened room, so...
Well, there's already like Sam Spade lighting in this whole thing, so
The only
he
thing that
like
can
knees
stop
the
is
guy
that
in the
power.
crotch. I love this part. It's like, well, the only thing to do is to get drunk. Now, if you'll excuse me, that's what he does.
Do they actually have liquor bottles like that in Japan? Just like old whiskey
Oh, yeah.
and stuff?
He's
Why
gonna
wouldn't
pour
they?
one out for the homeboys right here.
It's It's got like an English label and everything.
It's a Jim
Also-
Beam bottle.
Yeah,
it's a Jim
he's-
Beam. Oh no,
He's
not
imported
Jim Beam.
his
It's,
entire character from.
it's
you
a
know,
it's
South
early
thing.
times. Yeah, it's early times. That's what he's drinking. So he was drinking Coors Original in his gas station, and now he's drinking early times.
Looks like his American liquor then.
It's kind of sad that like the one thing I can recognize like immediately just by seeing a corner of it is like alcohol labels. It's like I see like one curly Q serif on the C and I know exactly what it is.
Someone involved in this movie must have really loved Americana because of how much American stuff there is in this.
Oh yeah, yeah. Really? You think someone in Japan loves Americana? I don't know. I won't believe it until I see it.
But it's not the kind of like modern stuff that I thought was popular at the time. This seems to be more weirder Western stuff that they wouldn't have liked as much.
Well,
I'm trying
I
to
don't
think of the other. There is a movie. It's not Poltergeist, but there was another one that was very similar to this about a news crew going into a haunted house from the 80s. So I'm wondering if they weren't thinking of that too.
Does Puppet Master 2 have a film crew?
Puppet Masters. Those movies were great.
But they were from the 90s, so they don't count.
Man, I would love to stream a bunch of those. The whole like really bad. Like, was it Full Moon Pictures?
Yeah.
Yeah,
kind of sucks that we're a game show, like we're a game podcast. Like,
you have to find. Well, we can always. I mean, we can do other
Yeah,
game-based
exactly.
movies like Cyber Ninja or.
I would love to just stream Zeram because it's kind of in the same mold. It did have a game based on the anime, which was based on the movie. Or wait, which order does that go in? I was always confused by that.
It was the movie, then the anime and the game.
And then there was a sequel, I think, at some point. So it got all
this
lost in translation.
guy's just going full hobo right here.
But he has
Joe,
a gas
He just
station. He has
immediately
somewhere
gets
to
into, like,
live.
A
Can you translate
catatonic drunk state.
the song at all? Like, did anyone pick up what he's actually singing about?
Just
No.
a second. Got me a five, got me a fiddle. Doing some shit, cakes on the griddle. Life ain't nothing but a funny, funny riddle. Thank God I'm a Japanese guy.
Wow. I believe he's maybe he's like quoting like the ancient Chinese proverbs of Raekwon the chef or something.
Zhang is
just keeps, like,
asking you a
it's-
question. Is every Asian film obligated to have an old drunk guy in it, either drinking or singing?
Well, the
Or
problem
both.
is they're so readily available. Like it's not like you. Like they'll just stumble onto the set on their way home from work, and what are you gonna do? So you just kind of film around it.
Yeah, I suppose that's a good reason as any. So
Is he actually pouring one out for the homies?
That's
Yeah.
yeah. I think he does. There he goes.
Yes.
but it's a glass bottle. How did he? Wait, what? You'd have to melt what?
Tupac,
What?
Biggie, rest in peace.
Amazing.
You're
You squeezed a
wasting it.
glass bottle. Actually, it's plastic. He played a big trick on himself.
But this is, in the game they refer to it as prey. It was actually like soul power in the Japanese version, so that's what he's
Soul power?
talking about. Yeah, soul power.
James Brown. Just
Yeah. That's why he's pouring one out for the homies. It's because he's getting in touch with the 164th. What would that be? Okay, I'm not gonna go there, but some kind of rune. But
Is that connected to the generator somehow? That
no, he's just gonna like
Sounds-
plug it into himself, and then he's gonna power it with that alcohol rage.
So that's Umbrella's underground secret lab, right?
Yes.
That's the only explanation I can think of because I don't know where you'd get a green light like that in an old Victorian mansion.
I'm guessing this is the dungeon in the game. I'm not sure.
Wes is gonna show up and get stabbed by a tyrant.
But you see, he faked his death.
I planned this all along, getting stabbed in the chest and dying.
Because he was a tyrant, wasn't he? Like he...
No, he was just he was superhuman or some bull crap. I forget the exact.
Yeah, he's got.
I hated Wesker. He was such a turd.
Originally, he injected himself with some super virus that you had to die to activate, and then I think they changed it so he was like a savant super child with virus powers. And I don't know. They retcon it every game. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. I just hope he stays dead.
If he comes back, he has to be fused with a rock, and then Chris has to punch him a bunch.
I mean, if you're gonna keep, yeah, my favorite villain was Dolph Lundgren. What's his name?
Sadler?
No, not Sadler. It was
Krauser?
Krauser. I like Krauser.
Yeah, Krauser was cool.
He was like Dolph Lundgren in Universal Soldier, and he had that weird Project Arms knife. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
We've been separated from the hobo.
His super hobo powers can no longer save us.
There is like a jail grate in the... Well, actually, they didn't go through the fireplace.
Thank God we thought to bring like 900 feet of extension cord.
And what happened to the green light? It's gone.
The point was to beckon them. You know, it's like...
Oh, crap.
Yeah, it's just mood lighting. They don't need mood lighting anymore because the mood's already set, so...
Whoa! Whoa!
I'm surprised the drunken hobo wasn't an item in the game, or like his liquor bottle, and you could just drink it as like a cheap power-up or something.
I haven't played through the whole game. Does the hobo show up?
Yes, he's actually pretty cool. He just randomly...
He leaves you some of the notes in the game, right? Not all of them, but some, right?
Yeah, there's like this one on Bannister, and it's like... It says it's got fresh ink, and then he like pops in, and... That was kind of annoying, though, because he's like, here, follow me, and then he takes one of your characters to go look at something, but then he leaves them stranded from the rest of your team, so it's like, okay.
Japanese Sean Connery's right. Trying to talk sense into somebody by saying you died a long time ago
Not a
is
good idea.
not the way to talk sense into somebody.
He's a drunk hobo. He's not going to be good at negotiating.
The power of Night Train compels you. He's just gonna breathe on her. That's why they call him.
This is so great. This is like one of the greatest. This is probably the second greatest movie right here.
Oh
Where
man.
he walks through the door and it's like Palpatine
Yeah,
lightning.
I love these like the Emperor is like shocking him.
It's heartbreaking in the game though. Jeez.
And now, drunk hobo, you will die. Well, he's probably dead. I think we should go.
No, it looks like a Klingon. What the hell?
Kapla!
And then
I
this
did it
leads into a
apparently-
whole other string of horror movies where he's like a Ursat's Freddy Krueger or something.
And apparently he singed his beard last. Like his skin gets melted, but the beard is left untouched.
But it's a hobo beard, man. It's like it might as well be made of steel.
This is so great, right here.
I guess the shadows inside him are getting him. So.
Wait.
The flashbacks to Iron Man 3 right here.
The end of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Yeah. This is so cool. The lava in his like kidney starts firing up.
It's all that alcohol.
Zeppelin rules! Oh, here it comes.
So do
much
they
money
like
spent.
melt out because of the because she and her baby died in a fire, or what?
Yeah, wait. Yeah.
Oh, damn.
That was kick-ass. Let's
So they're just standing here while he's melting, and they're just
No,
not
they've been
running.
running. Like, they've been
Or how gratuitous is he's still standing too? That's the thing that gets me throughout all this. He's like, yeah, I'm dying, but you know what?
Well, the ankles are the last to go.
Yeah, this scene just goes on and on. I give it 11 out of 10.
There's like somebody who had like the squibs hooked up to the rib cage, and he was just waiting for the right time.
Every Japanese movie, or I guess horror or sci-fi action movie I've seen, has a scene like that though, where they just do this really long, like practical effects shot. I mean, you know, a lot of American horror movies did that too. I meant The Thing especially, but it's very noticeable here.
Well, usually that's at like 6 cuts or 7 cuts. You'd usually get 2 or 3 at most.
They need to burn this place down.
They can't. It's made out of stone.
Uh-oh.
So I like how the ghost, like, or I should say the ghost mother, like her powers tie into how her baby died. Like she was so obsessed with burning things that she just suddenly became like a flame ghost or something. She just burns everything because, you know, totally not rubbing salt in that wound by totally reliving that in the afterlife.
That's a very common ghost theme, though.
Well, okay, if I was a ghost and I died by getting shot or something, I wouldn't suddenly become Shooty McBang Bang all of a sudden. I would probably avoid guns, like, instinctively as a ghost, even if I couldn't die.
Hey, Batman had a handgun, you know, at first.
Well, I mean, this the idea that the ghost is just taking revenge on other people by using, you know, the same thing that happened to them, it has to happen to other people.
I suppose, yeah, that makes sense.
So, you know, suffer as G did.
Well, like I was saying about that one kind of ghost that like it's a mother, and she tries to protect other kids, but she ends up like smothering them or something because she can't control herself. And it's interesting how perfectly this plot matches up with that. So as Western as it is, maybe it was accidentally.
Thing.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna get into that in the podcast, but the vengeful ghost story is like one of the human cultural concepts, because it all stems out of like burial rites and other things, like proper preparation of corpses and honoring the dead and that kind of thing, which is like one of the very first, that's like not even unique to humans. Neanderthals did the same thing.
Yeah, they had burial rituals, which is really interesting.
Yeah, they were people too.
No, they were Neanderthals. They were not people. But yeah, no, I mean, they're, so it's interesting, like it's like I said, like the final portion of this movie is just all these old people. It's
Usually you'd think they'd be the first in a horror movie to die, because they're
you get rid of the parents, right? They're not even supposed to be there. I love how Japanese John Madden gets so brave towards the end. I must go. We can make out for like 2 minutes, but then I seriously have to go.
Well, we're almost towards the end. We have about 30 more minutes, according to the little guide at the bottom. Roughly.
The movie is about
it's almost 2 hours.
1 hour and 40 minutes long.
Yeah.
What does she see in this guy? Like, that's what I don't understand. Is like she's obviously like pining after this like schlub, and
He totally hangs dong.
The Emperor's back. And now,
No, it's the quickening.
You and I. Oh, it feels so good, so bad. Such confusing feelings.
Wait, she's digging up the baby after they buried it?
I take the baby hostage. Say, look, bitch, I got your baby.
This, yeah, like the.
Gonna kick it.
I still, yeah,
one.
she figures it out like right now. But like, I also want to point out, like, the fat dad producer guy gets really sacrificial badass really fast. Like, that switch just gets flipped. And for her, she's like, thankfully I didn't do a good job burying this baby again because I could dig it up in about 2 minutes.
Is that your side?
With my hands. Nope.
Ah.
There we go. There's the, yeah.
It was surprisingly unnecessary.
Sweet 47-year-old side boob.
She's still in good shape, though.
No, yeah, she's gorgeous. Like, she's a very, I don't know, I do not hide my attraction to this woman in particular. The other two, it's okay. I think it must be the director pants. Like, it just. I'll put on the dead woman's clothes. Tie the Rambo rag around my
Hachimaki.
Remember at the beginning, Joestar? You're old. You remember the beginning of the Rambo cartoon where he like tightens his bootlaces and like tightens the bandana around his head.
Oh, that reminded me of Operation Wolf.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah. The whole, well, or Commando. You know, there was just a lot of really good 1980s, gearing up things.
I forget, like, my cousin had like all the Rambo cartoon toy line, which it was like such a big part of like how we played and stuff growing up. I didn't realize that nobody cared about that except for us. Like, nobody had those toys.
Well, we had some of those, and we had the Chuck Norris Karate Commandos toys. There were so many. Well, back on the Rambo cartoon, there was a lot of cartoons and a lot of toys based on just really inappropriate licenses back then. Like, you had toys based on the movie Commando. You had toys based on.
It's true. Yeah.
And,
Alien.
Like, Rambo as a character, like, even the movies were totally inappropriate after the first one. Like, this is a story about like a Vietnam vet, homeless guy with like post-traumatic stress syndrome, and they make it into this like, well, now he's an action hero.
Well, didn't the First Blood come out in the 70s?
1979, 1978.
So yeah, it's in that, on the cusp of.
That's like it's one of the greatest like hunter becomes the hunted kind of movies.
I thought that was 82. First Blood.
Maybe, yeah.
Rambo First Blood Part 2 came out same day as the Goonies, and actually beat the Goonies in the. I just remember that from the commentary on the Goonies. They talked about how they were like, yeah, we lost out.
First Blood. Oh yeah, maybe First Blood is more like 4 or 5 more years more recent than I thought. Why does she have to put on the blouse of the woman whose ghost she's going to confront? That's the one thing.
What I want to know is how come she could go back in the house? I thought it was like shadow possessed. Isn't that what happened with Matt?
She went in the back way? I don't know.
Man, she's got to go find a wooden board now.
So this scene is to blame for the fact that we have to spend half the game getting.
Actually, what's cool, Cal, is once you get past the beginning, you really don't need them anymore.
So they reversed it, because this is near the end, and you need a wooden board.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. It's interesting. They really do stick to the game concepts, like.
And that's what, like, I forget where I read it. There's some article. They were talking with. He worked on Resident Evil after this, after this game, but he said that they told him, well, just go and do whatever, but trying to make it pretty similar to the movie. And then they showed him a screener copy, and he's like, okay, well, I'm going to do this. And he talked with the director, and yeah, I mean, it was apparently they worked with them, and they were like, yeah, okay, it's fine for you to change these things, but you know, you might want to have this and that. So you know, there's a lot of things like Yamamura melting. I mean, like that was pretty disturbing in the game too.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like crap, that's a really disturbing game. Like considering back then,
Yeah.
I mean, you could have some dark stuff, but like you know, Hitler's head exploding, but you know, like if you die in the game, you get chopped in half, or you know, you see the lady, you know, hit the wall and like a bunch of blood splatters out, or there's these decapitated.
Coffin toss.
Yes. I'm just like, what the hell kind of coffin is it? It's just really creepy. Looks like a beetle.
From in this scene, it looks like a cat's like carrier cage, like when you're gonna take it to the vet.
It looks like there's 5 or 6 different things depending on what angle you're looking at. It looked like a baby carriage, like an H.R. Geiger-esque baby carriage at one point.
Well, back to the whole Naked Lunch thing. It keeps reminding me of the typewriters, the Clark Kents. It's like, I want you to point the painter in the fresco for me. Homosexuality is the best cover story a documentary maker ever had. Words to live by, Lee.
What was I going to say though? For some reason though, whenever anything involving William S. Burroughs is brought up, I always remember what someone said about Eulilia, how he sounds like William S. Burroughs. And he does. Like if you've ever listened to like William S. Burroughs narrate like his poems, and then you listen to a Eulilia video, it's like holy shit, how does he do that? Like it's like if William S. Burroughs was obsessed with Bubsy 3D of all games, like, and that was all his poetry was about.
Gosh. Well, that is a pretty terrifying topic. Just now I'd like to see a picture of, like, you know, see Cal do an image of like Lilia trying to shoot a Tom Collins glass off of Bubsy's head.
Wait, did we just miss a part of the movie with a falling chandelier? That's actually in the movie, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah, there was a little bit earlier actually.
Yes. Yeah, it's one of the most obnoxious parts of the game.
Yeah, I haven't found. I think it's just totally random, but I think it also helps to. I don't know if speed, you know, of entering which way, you know, if that does it, but
I love the light bulbs bursting. Like it looks like poison just entered the room or something, like a music video.
or
Power of our rock essence.
Now it's quiet.
They removed too many characters early on, I think.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if they had like the child get captured, and then these two the two older people had a reason to stick around, then they could have like cut down the movie, like, because it kind of just drags, like waiting for like Scooby and Co. to get murdered.
Yeah, but that was the fun, and that established some plot. I don't mind the slow start.
Yeah, I don't
I don't
really
think
mind
the
that
house-
either. Like, I don't mind it establishing plot. My problem is it kind of drags, and then they have the motivation for like all the the surviving characters be at like the very end of the movie. Which I
think
guess that makes. I don't know.
It should have been more actiony now. It's a bit slow still.
yeah, I really wish that they would have had like the zombies and stuff from the game. That was kind of neat.
And the worms, that would have been kind of interesting.
Yeah, the worms. I mean, that would have been awesome if there was a scene with a bunch of worms, but they probably didn't have the budget for it. But
I was sort of hoping that it would have like the movie House that we mentioned earlier. Like it would just be like there'd just be zombie stuff would just come out of doors and stuff, be like, "Blah!" And then they'd run away and they'd be gone. You know, that's sort of just haunted house stuff.
that was a really cool movie visually. Like it made me mad though, because you know, I've stressed that, you know, like I think y'all were saying something that you know, basically if the bad guy doesn't end up in Gitmo, I'm not going to be happy. I just but the cool thing is, did you ever see the commercials by that director? He did these cologne commercials with Charles Bronson.
I don't think we even got them here.
Well, I mean, no, I mean like they're on YouTube.
Yeah,
I would take a look. Yeah, go look them up. It's for Mandem Cologne, and it's just really weird. Like he goes into his like bachelor pad and then like starts stripping, and then he starts splashing on like about 4 bottles of this cologne, and then starts fantasizing that he's a cowboy gunman, and then he's like shoots down a helicopter, and then he like. It's just really weird.
The power of Christ compels you. The power of Christ compels you. I like how you can tell the flames are composited into the shot. It's just that obvious.
Well, I mean, they didn't make the actress walk into actual flames.
Yeah, I know that. I
meant
meant that would be very bad, but...
I think this is a fire bar, though.
Yeah, probably. I can't imagine working near an actual open flame like that, even if it's like well controlled and it's like a bar, because if you step the wrong way, it's like, ow. Although, wait, is a fire bar supposed to burn cold, or is it just an actual flame that's just... not...
It's still a flame, but the redder a flame is, it's not actually that hot. Like, this sort of orange one isn't that hot. You could wave your hand through it without burning it. But you don't leave it in there.
Yeah, obviously. Give me your hand, come on, stop playing around, huh?
So this is like the ending to E.T. but with fire.
God, E.T., that movie scared the crap out of me as a kid. Like, I was an easily scared child, I will admit, but that movie is just, like, really bothered me. Particularly the part with the saw blade. I think that was from E.T.
It's supposed to teach you to be afraid of the government.
Rightly so.
It's an alien. Let's chop it up, lads!
Well, they did the... They edited it to the... when they re-released it here, Cal, they... edited it to get the guns out. So there's this scene where there's like a whole bunch of FBI agents chasing after him. In the original, they had shotguns, but then
they replaced it with
made
walkie-talkies.
Yeah, and then they made fun of that on South Park. That was pretty amusing. Where they were like, these guys ran in and they all had walkie-talkies, and then they gunned down like a room of people with them.
Sometimes that show was on the money. I haven't watched it in years, so I can't really say.
Like sometimes it's really funny, and that's the thing. Like, there's some of them that I'd love to have on DVD, especially since Netflix keeps taking crap down. But
yeah, I know.
They had it all up there, and then now it's gone. But
as a plug for South Park, I think you can watch any episode on South Park episodes.
That's true. I mean, well, there's plenty of gray area places too. But no, I mean, but it's
legally.
Right.
It's you can't access it because licensing.
Sorry.
Yeah,
well,
Canada can't. I know, like most of like Europe can't. I think only the United States can watch stuff on South Park Studios.
Her face reminds me of something. I'm certain some game or some other thing has the exact like they've used a photo of her face.
Whitney Houston.
As a character.
Oh, and of course there's the transformation. So wait, it's actually a badly being born, sorta. But like, yeah, like every Japanese like sci-fi horror, anything has a transformation scene in it too. That's another thing. I mean, again, American movies do that a lot.
Well, I feel like at the time it was like such a cool thing you could do with practical effects, make something like slowly pop out of something else. I think it was just written into a lot of movies.
Yeah.
It's like
I know David Cronenberg's stuff did a lot of this, particularly Videodrome.
Kind of like how in like the dawn of CGI, it was like a great thing to have things like slowly change into other things. It's like he's a person, but now he's a cougar. You know, it's like it's like slowly morphing. Yeah, the morph technology.
Slowly morphing Mighty Rangers.
This had to have been inspired by The Thing to some extent, because this totally just reminds me of that.
The dog will fuck you. Yeah, definitely.
They need some dynamite.
I like the goofy, like painted wind effects they've got going on.
What's Madden doing all this time? Like,
is he dead?
Dad is just
I assume he's dead. Or does he mysteriously reappear at the end of the film?
Like
remember he had the dildo with him.
Right.
whole damn time? You just take a nap?
No.
With my dying breath, I pull down one of the shelves.
Well, they're kind of talking about how you needed to, like, it's hard to fight a mother ghost, and I guess they're trying to show that Akiko has motherly instincts and she's able to fight back. But like, I wonder if you sent like a hardline misogynist in there, like how they would fare, or
Someone just really
Positive
doesn't like
misogyny,
kids.
but it's
someone who's a mother but not a very good mother, or
Clearly, a person like that would never go to a haunted
Mother, but-
mansion.
It's funny too. Dark Water, the movie, is essentially exactly that.
see, I never actually. I mean, I know that's actually, but the book was written by, or I think it was like a bunch of stories. Like the book was a bunch of stories, but it was by this guy that wrote the Ring books, which are
Every time
real.
they show the ghost mom's face, like howling in agony or something, like it's so angular, it looks like Carrot Top to me. Like,
It does kinda, yeah, now that you mention it.
but
Okay,
it's not like
there's the-
buff enough. There's the Frankenstein rake. From hell's heart, I stab at thee.
Moby Dick.
Where's Darth Vader to throw her down a pit when you need?
I don't know. For those listening, every hardcore gaming podcast I do is littered with subtle literary references that nobody ever catches. Nah, I'm just joking. There's only one that did that.
Get that.
The H.R. Geiger baby. Here, have
So,
your
like, I know
baby
what she
back.
wants.
This is what you did with you put your baby in this thing. Can you?
Yeah.
Why did so much? Why did you keep it?
So is the baby like calcified or something?
I don't know.
I think they had it bronzed. It's like you could just do the shoes, but like,
I wanted to just start shaking the baby, just like, look, I'm doing this.
I mean, the baby looks pretty damn good for having burned to death in
Well,
a.
again, it was hermetically sealed, so kind of like linen.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like, oh, okay, hey, there's my baby.
uncorruptible core. Yeah, it doesn't look like Carrot Top anymore because it's not buff enough. Like,
Yeah,
Carrot
the
Top's
arms aren't
arms
big
are
enough. Oh man,
It's like Mark McGuire. I just don't like that I live in a world where Carrot Top can now kick my ass. Like, this is not what I signed up for.
Well, there's this real life cheat called steroids. There's no way he could have gotten that buff without taking steroids. I don't think. Not unless
No,
he,
he
like,
could. I mean, no, I don't think he looks like he's on steroids. His head isn't like gigantic. It's still like this creepy, angular, like Raggedy Ann looking face. It's not. I don't think he's on roids. It's like.
Yeah, I guess if he was on roids, it kind of looked like
I think he just got
it
tired
looked
of
like Marcus Phoenix
like
or something.
drunk dudes, like frat boys and stuff, shoving him around. He's like, okay, I'm just gonna get huge, and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, he's got the money and the time.
It's like he's like, Sinbad doesn't have to deal with this crap because he's gigantic. Boys and Girls Sinbad was a comedian.
he had his own television show and cartoon, didn't he?
He was in Jingle All the Way,
Oh, Lord.
and then
Yes,
I think his career ended after that.
And then Arnold Schwarzenegger unhinged his jaw and ate him. Does this make me more American?
Oh, Jingle All the Way. What a horrible, horrible film.
Oh man.
I disagree. Jingle All the Way is a excellent holiday movie.
Speaking of which, hopefully this Christmas we'll be playing Christmas games. Oh.
Oh God, not again.
Which what is there? There's the Days Before Christmas.
There's Days Before
Batman
Christmas.
Turns into
Batman Returns, maybe.
The Grinch games. There's a couple of those.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right.
There's
Wasn't
probably
the
some
pe-
game on the Atari. I don't know.
that look on.
Any of the Gremlin game count?
Yeah,
I guess
actually.
so. Damn. This is
That look on the director's
bullshit. She gets to go to
face.
heaven.
Yeah.
She killed like 4 people for virtually no reason.
Yeah. She killed all these people, plus all those kids she killed. I mean, and
What's up with those little stars circles? Is this like the origin of the Big Dipper or something? Like, what-
I did not expect that pan to go all the way into the sky. That was impressive.
That was very
Yeah, right up
cheesy
in,
too.
like, the-
Wow.
and now she's like the
right up into the
mascot.
like Columbia Films logo.
Yes,
right?
yes.
I sometimes know what you guys are talking about because I was actually born in the mid to late 80s, so I'm medium old, I guess. If it's early 90s and early or late 80s, I
Well,
generally
it's
know
now
what it is.
time to find where your dad's body is.
Get your hand up.
Don't touch me there.
Yeah.
That was a little bit odd the way she moved her hand.
It
Yeah,
was
they're
like she was moving it away. Like no.
Yeah,
hey, now that Kazuo's here, she can be a
Not that kind of hug. It's a motherly hug. I'm so confused.
Oh yeah, since Satanga brings up, Jojo, if you hate the ending to this game, you should never play Heretic 2, because here's what happens in that game.
What?
And I'm gonna spoil this after
Wait,
this.
what part of the house is this? The
That's
Arc de
actually a
Triomphe? Like what?
Good question.
Isn't this the exit that the dad went into?
Yeah, I'm having a hard time figuring out where everything is.
Well, like she flew up
like-
into what, like it was like the ruins of Notre Dame or something. Like when she went to heaven, it was like some weird like French cathedral, like at the top
I
of the
would-
house that we didn't see.
This is a great time to change out of the dead woman's clothes. Like
Well, actually, that scene was really
Oh.
clever color-wise because you had yellow, white, green. He did take a nap.
Well, he got halfway into the house. He's like, I'm kind of tired, and I totally don't want to have to fight a ghost.
so he's like the Shaggy right here. It's like Scoop. I just kind of wigged out, jumped into the dumbwaiter.
It's time for a sweet home snack. Which I guess is liquor in this instance, so.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's one of those American
Early
beers.
times, yeah.
I really hope what's going through his head is, man, I don't know what I did, but I did it. I'm the greatest.
Oh, there's the dad we left for dead.
Well, I
Like,
would
they're
have
just
left him
gonna
for
leave
dead
him
too,
there.
honestly. After fighting like a hideous like ghost mom, I'd be like, yeah, I'm done. I'm done for the day.
How do you
Clutching each other for a few more minutes.
how the hell are you gonna explain this to the police though? I mean,
I think that's why this never gets reported because they're just like, I don't want to deal with this. I'm going home.
we got separated and
Yeah.
So was this before or after you like melted the man's torso off?
that's a question. Do you think he's still there? I mean, Asuka burned up.
Yeah, she's probably there as just a goo pile or something. I don't know.
So you're saying he liquefied and then turned into a skeleton?
I think he's still just trying to drag himself around.
He got up. He has that wrench stuck in his head, but he's fine.
How many horror movies
Yeah, I
end
don't
like
think
this though, where like all these people die and they just like go home and it's like, I'm glad that's
Wait, the whole
over.
time it was like a castle?
It's pretty much all horror movies will end with them just being like, fuck, I'm done. I'm going home.
It's gonna like pan out, and then you're gonna see it's in the back of
It's in
a
a snow
pyramid.
globe.
No, well, I was gonna say it's in the back of a pan.
It's like the end of St. Elsewhere.
No, I was thinking of what do you call it, From Dusk Till Dawn, or it zooms out into space and you see
Yeah.
it's like there's an alien spaceship leaving, like in Maximum Overdrive, which I still think is like the prequel
Wait.
to ours, but
Wait. From
Where's-
Dusk Till Dawn, they zoom out and it's like a some kind of inverted ziggurat or something. On
yeah,
top.
it was
like an
built into
Aztec
an
temple.
Aztec pyramid, yeah.
Yeah.
So they're like Aztec vampires or mummies or something.
I like how that's supposed to explain everything.
Wasn't there like trucks there as well? Like piles of
Yeah,
them?
there's just all these piles of trucks that they just dumped there after all the people they murdered.
It's like, I hope no one ever looks here or has Google Maps.
I know. Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
they didn't really foresee
Yeah.
that, but
The vampire strip club would probably not survive the advent of the internet because people would be like, yeah, like two of my buddies went here and were eviscerated, like literally eviscerated. Maybe this is not like, 2 stars on Yelp, It's like,
2 stars. 'Cause,
well,
I mean,
one star's Domino's.
Yeah.
So there's,
I mean, because there was, what's the name out the front?
Oh,
Cheech.
here we got the brand placements. Here's Seiko brand placement.
Max Factor.
And now I call
Oh,
it.
Ruby-
Oh, 19. Now it's saying 1988, but
Oh, sure.
it's apparently in 1989's.
Oh, they could have copyrighted
It collapsed.
So something to
Yeah,
note.
that
Okay,
was
yeah,
a,
now that's
that was a
totally over.
load-bearing ghost.
Load-bearing ghost.
That's a trope.
Konami ending, right?